Hi there, this is Kenneth B, and you're watching Blue Collar Guy. Okay, we're back. So I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey, and this is going to involve a little bit of personal stuff that's happened to me and millions of other people in Montreal. And the problem that we're having is our power is not stable. So the average power outage in Montreal is 4 hours, and it can be caused by a whole variety of things. Now I know you're thinking about the ice storms, but I'm going to give you a couple of other examples that have happened to just me personally and that has affected the power. So here's a few clips of those.
Storm! Crazy, believable. Just when I have to go to work. Look at that. Look, the ice came in. It actually hurts. Yeah. Don't need ice for your drink. You can just get it right from the sky. That's it for that.
The building is flooded in St. Laurent with the water. I called the elevator and it brought up a bunch of water, so I had to take these stairs. Crazy. Hopefully those guys will pump it out. Got woken up 7 o'clock this morning. The time and date. Let's record that. There we go. Fire department was here. Panel's still buzzing. And yeah, we're getting flooded again slowly. This is getting crazy. I had 3 hours sleep, that's it. Ah, there's the fire in my building. Looks like it's coming right from there. They got the ladder, they went up that way. There's the truck. Okay, we're back. So now you understand why I felt the need to get auxiliary power. Now, the issue that I had was, well, what kind of power station to get, and what do I do, and what's the capacity? So I did learn that you need a little device called a watt meter to measure your appliances, and then after you measure your appliances, then you can figure out through math, of course, how many watt hours you need. So to give you an idea, if a fridge uses 100 watts, or actually a better example would be if a lamp uses 100 watts, in 1 hour it will use 100 watts. So that's 100 watt hours. So if you had a 100 watt hour battery and you had a 100 watt lamp, it would run it for 1 hour and then it would be dead. So now most batteries, of course, are not 100% efficient. They're around 80%, so you're going to get less than that. So whatever they're rated for, you'll probably get a little bit less than that. Now, why am I showing you this particular power station? Well, this particular power station is called the AllPowers R600. And I looked at this one, and I also looked at the Blue Eddy EV3A, and this one had better specs. It had a 300 watt hour battery. The Blue Eddy had a 256 watt hour battery, and it also had a different display on it, which I liked better because it was more like the EcoFlow display. If you look at it, it's more like the EcoFlow. It has true UPS. It has a light just like the Blue Eddy, but you don't have to cycle through that whole SOS feature and the rest of that. The outputs are on the front and the inputs are on the side. See, I also have a solar panel hooked up. The sun is going down right now. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 6:22 p.m.
Okay.
Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. So anyways, I got 15 watts coming in, but I got 57 watts going out. But when the solar panel is running at optimum efficiency, you're not going to get 200 watts just by putting a panel in your window in an apartment building, but you'll probably get around 50-60 watts, so it's not going to be too bad. And I have a clip of how many watts you get on a cloudy day even, so I'm going to show you a clip of that. Okay, so the sun came out a little bit more. It's moving around, of course, and now we're seeing 32 watts maximum of solar. So yeah, and I thought that was kind of interesting. So the juice has been going up, and we're still on the cloudy day, and it went up to 32. There's 31, and let's see if it'll go back up to 32. But anyways, I'm just gonna keep you posted, see what the maximum is right now. Okay, so you've seen the clips of that, and now you know how the solar panel can feed this system. But then you're like, okay, well, this is still pretty small for what you need. But I didn't end here. I'm going to show you another power station that I bought for my Wi-Fi. So this is the EcoFlow River 2, and it is the one powering my Wi-Fi. It is also powering my air cleaner. And I did a review on this air cleaner. This is the Danby 290BW, so check that video out. And the power station here is got a 300 watt inverter. So instead of getting a giant power station to power everything and running cables everywhere, I got power stations for my individual areas that I needed. And this way you're having a better time for inverter efficiency, plus my overall watt hours are a lot better than you might think. So do you see this little cable right here? That's a DC out, and I've also got it unplugged from the wall. The DC output on that last AllPowers station I showed you is feeding this one. If you look on the input, it says 49 watts coming in. It says it's putting out about 26 or 28 watts. That will change according to, see, it's going up and down, because I'm going to show you something else. So what is this craziness I got going over here? So this is another AllPowers R600. I bought two of them. It has a 300 watt hour battery, and as you can see, it does have a little bit noisier fan when it's running than the Blue Eddy EB3A, but it doesn't seem to be bothering me, and it cycles on and off. The fan on this one, actually no, sorry, the fan, that's not the fan on this one, that's the fan on the EcoFlow. So if you look at the below here, I have an EcoFlow River 2 Pro, or no, sorry, a River 2 Max. Let me just be specific. This is not the Pro, this is just the Max. So the EcoFlow River 2 Max has a 512 watt hour battery. It is not expandable. However, when it's connected with this one, now you have another 300 watt hours feeding into it. This is called daisy chaining, and I do it through the DC inputs and outputs. So if you look on the side of this one, I have a, okay, let me just get over to here. On the side of this one, I have the input. So from the other River 2 is feeding this one, okay? So the other one is feeding this one, and this one is feeding this one power. And you say, well, why would you do that? Well, because if I just ran my TV off of this one, you're only going to get about 4 hours of runtime. Now, because I've set up a miniature grid system, look how many hours I could watch a 65-inch TV for. 13 hours. Now, given the fact that most power outages in Montreal will last on average 4 hours, I think that's pretty good. Not to mention that once everything's turned off, the solar panel will charge the first power station, will then subsequently charge all the other power stations. This is what I refer to as like a type of, I wouldn't say it's a miniature grid, but it's a type of miniature grid because they're helping each other. And one will bleed off from the other one, and this one will take power from this one. Okay? Now I'm going to show you something else. So this is the VetoMan 1800X. And as you can see, this is the watt meter I was talking about, and there's the functions, and you can go through all of that. It's all zeroed out now, but I can show you how I calculated how long my refrigerator would run off of this particular power station. It will run just my fridge down here for 27 hours, no problem. And it can also, with the expandable battery, double that time. And I can also run my freezer and my microwave because this unit has an 1800 watt inverter, and it is a beast. It's a very heavy unit. This unit weighs 40 pounds. It also has a noisy fan, which is the only downside, but it does do what we need it to do during a power outage. Now, I don't have anything feeding power to this one. This one is not daisy chained into anything. However, I can run a cord, like an extension cord, over to this unit and charge it up from the other units should they get fully charged. I would not be able to put 1548 watt hours into it because the combined total of the other power stations do not even equal this one power station. You've got 300 watts, that's 600 watts, you got another 500, so that's 1100 watts. So you got close, we're close, but we're not there. So all of those other power stations are just under this one. But you need a bigger power station like this to run microwave ovens, to run fridges, to run freezers for long periods of time. So how the expandable battery works is it goes into this little port here. Then you can actually double the power of the power station's capacity. So you could daisy chain it too, but that's usually a better way. This one here also charges at a much slower rate. It takes about 9 hours to charge it to full capacity. The other power stations have a very fast charger. They can charge in an hour, maybe a little bit more. So if you had a situation where the power came on temporarily, it may be enough to charge those other ones up. This one does not have fast charging capability. I am looking into the VetoMan 1500 flash speed. It doesn't have as powerful of an inverter, but it can charge in 1 hour. And it could also run the fridges and freezers. So that may be a move that I'll make in the future, but given the expense, I think this is a good solution. So if you live in Montreal and you have been through similar things like the clips that I've showed you, and you understand the inconvenience of power and the importance of power now, can't run our phones, can't do a lot of things, you will see that this is a viable solution. It's not totally off grid, but you will not be stranded. You won't be stranded anymore. So I don't have to worry about being in dire straits. So let me go back to the other little guy for a second. So getting back to this one, as you can see, it's still getting in 16 watts of solar, and it's putting out more than it's taking in, but it's also causing the battery to last longer. feeding all the subsequent power stations, everything is good. Now, I just want to say that, you know, this isn't the optimal solution for everybody, and these aren't cheap little units. You're looking at thousands of dollars to get to do something like this. However, what is the inconvenience of coming home after a hard day's work and not being able to cook your food, not be able to charge your phone, not being able to unwind like you desperately need to after that, and instead you're dealing with total darkness, you're dealing with spoiled food. I had to throw away food during that last power outage because it lasted 3 days. Had I had these power stations, I would have been fine. The other thing about these smaller power stations is I can take the smaller units and charge them up via car. I can charge them up over at the Tim Hortons Donuts, like so many people were charging their phones. And then I can bring them back here and feed my little miniature grid. I can even expand this grid with more and more batteries, more power stations in the future that will keep it running longer and better. And you know, if I had it so that it ran for 3 or 4 days straight with no worries, there's practically, you know, you know you're going to have your power back within 3 or 4 days. I think the longest Montreal ever had a power outage was 2 weeks. So even in that situation, I would still have power because I would still have solar. So, you know, I'm not going to ever be totally without power ever again. So the solar panel I got was the AllPowers solar panel. It was a 200 watt panel, and it is compatible with this unit here. It was also at a very good price. So it was a poly crystal panel, but it is wired in parallel, which means that if something's blocking part of the panel, the rest of the panel doesn't just turn to zero, it still puts out voltage. And that is important. If you're looking for a solar panel, find one that is wired in parallel. That way, if something is blocking one of your panels or partially blocking it, it does not affect the voltage of the other panels. So, anyways, I hope that this helps all the people that have been suffering with power outages and crisis. Even if you live in the outskirts of town, if you live outside of town, you're in a much better position to even set up more solar panels and have a better array. These little units are literally lifesavers. And with the lithium iron phosphate batteries, they can be recharged 3,500 times, much more than my e-bike. My e-bike can only be recharged 800 times. That means that these batteries will last 10 years. 10 years, that's a long time. And they also have pure sine wave. I check them. I do have a video where I checked my street power with the or the grid power, I should say, with my oscilloscope. I checked all of these units, and they all have a pure sine wave. Okay, just some additional information. This is Kenneth B, blue collar guy. Anyways, I'm just going to give you some specs on the AllPowers R600. Still pumping out 22 watts of solar, 13 watts output. So we're getting more watts input from solar panel on a cloudy day. Thunderstorms today. Alexa, what's the weather today?
Right now in Saint-Laurent, it's 24 degrees Celsius with mostly cloudy skies. Today's forecast has thunderstorms, with a high of 26 degrees and a low of 20 degrees.
Okay, so that's that. So, anyways, I know that there's no other testing. I know a lot of people watch Hobotech, and he's a really good guy as far as, you know, testing out these systems. Let me just shut off some of that background noise here. Okay, that was not the fan from the solar generator. That was actually my air conditioner. So anyways, I'm going to plug in this outlet, which is plugged into that, okay, through down there, and show you what the voltage is, if it's any good or not. So just give me a second here and I'll hook that up. Okay, so we have 113 volts, which is good. We have a pure sine wave. Okay, and so I checked that, and it is a good sine wave. So this particular power station hasn't been checked for that. That's the little fan that just kicked on. That is the fan that's actually in the solar generator itself. So we're getting 24 watts of input on a cloudy day versus the I don't know what a nominal day would be, but we'll have to check that out and see what is the maximum we can get out of the window. Just putting a solar panel in a window. It's a 200 watt panel, and you know, always try to get the biggest panel you can for your window if you're going to do that, because you'll get more wattage even if it's cloudy out. If you go with a smaller panel, you might be lucky to get 5 or 6 watts, which would take a very long time to recharge your unit. So this is optimal. And so yeah, that's your sine wave on that. All right. Okay, that's it for that. The voltages vary on some of them, but that's not as critical as a pure sine wave with a 60 hertz. You know, you want to have these 60 hertz. So, you know, very important. Now, this particular unit also has an app. The EcoFlow has a nice app, but the VetoMan does not. But it is just a bare bones, you know, high output power station, and it is necessary if you want to run anything powerful. So I can run, like I said, I can run a 1400 watt microwave. I can run fridges for days. You know, it's just a beast. You know, it's just a heavy tank of a beast. So, and it also has a big light on the back too. You know, there's other reviews on the VetoMan 1800X. I suggest you check them out, and it will tell you what kind of a workhorse it is. It does not have UPS. If you want a UPS version of that, you will need to get the 1500 flash speed. So I repeat, you'll want to get the 1500 flash speed. It is more money. It is something that I'm considering in the future as part of my expansion of the system, but like I said, just given the cost of everything, this type of system is just something to get up and running, and something that will get me through this winter. So by the time this winter's over, I should have an expanded system. Alright, so you take care, be safe at work, and hopefully you're having a better week than me, as you can tell by the videos. Thank you.